Week 1 in the NFL season just finished up, and that means I need to make my updated rankings official all the way from 1 to 32. So starting off at number 32, unfortunately, in last place, you probably couldn't guess this, but it is the Carolina Panthers. They were the worst team in the NFL last year, and they will be the worst team in the NFL this year. Their quarterback, Bryce Young, he was picked first overall last year. He looked really bad. He didn't have any weapons. He has a few more weapons this year. He still looks really bad. They got blown out 10-47 by the Saints. Not the Chiefs, but the Saints. So clearly, they're the worst team in the NFL, and I believe they will be for some time. Who knows? Maybe this next team can take it from them, and that is at number 31, the New York Giants. The Giants, once again, have Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is bad. So this contract they gave him, well, it's not outrageously expensive, about $40 million per year, is pretty mild for an NFL quarterback. However, Baker Mayfield makes about that much, Geno Smith makes about that much, and they're so much better than him. So clearly, this was a bad payment. Daniel Jones has, if anything, gotten worse. The year 2 years ago under Brian Daboll appears to be a fluke. They only scored 6 points against the Minnesota Vikings. Well, they are a decent team with a pretty good defense. Once again, not an elite team. If you get blown out by a not elite team, you're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. At number 30 is the Tennessee Titans. That is mainly because Will Levis has looked terrible against the Bears. I will give him some credit. The Bears' defense is really good. I'll give them that. But the Bears' offense did not put up a touchdown. They had a special teams touchdown. They had an interception touchdown. Their coach even said if they just punted the ball on first down every single time, they might have won the game. That's not a good offense, and that's why they are the 30th best team in the NFL. But hey, top 30 is something to accomplish. Then at 29, the NFC East is really not looking good so far. And we'll see how the rest of it goes, but it's pretty top heavy, as I think we all know. But the Washington football team, or no, not the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, it doesn't really matter. It's a bad name either way. They should just go back, in my opinion, or change to something new. But Washington is my 29th best team in the NFL. Their defense looks really bad. They gave up 37 points to Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield could have scored more if they wanted to. Jaden Daniels, while he is a good running threat, he doesn't look like he knows how to pass the ball very much so far, and I just don't see a lot of upside for this year. Maybe next year, maybe if Jaden Daniels can start throwing the ball better, but as of now, the 29th best team in the NFL. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below, but back to the video. So next at 28 is the Denver Broncos. Their defense looks like it could be really good. They got 2 safeties in one game. Never hear about that happening. But they still managed to lose to the Seattle Seahawks, even with those 2 safeties. It's a little disappointing. So Bo Nix, once again, quarterbacks just not looking good at the bottom of this list, and that shows just how important quarterbacks are. But Bo Nix, for most of the game, didn't really do anything, and their offense doesn't have weapons. Their running backs don't look that good. It's really just a team with a good defense. It's like a bad version of last year's Steelers. So, yeah, 28. At 27 is a team that I liked going into the season, but just didn't quite impress me this year. They got beat down a little bit, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. I believed in them going in, and I still could. You know, it's just going into week 2. A lot can change, and who knows. But as of right now, the Las Vegas Raiders, I have this is the 27th best team in the NFL. Their offense was a little bit anemic, only putting up 10 points against the Chargers defense, and I don't see the Chargers defense as a very good defense. So that's the main reason there. At 26, the New England Patriots. They shocked the world, beating the Cincinnati Bengals, and their defense and running game could be really good. It could be a fluke, but they appear to have a competent offense and a really good defense. We'll see if they can keep it up, but so far looking good. Who knows, maybe Drake May will never even go in if the team is good enough. At 25 is a team that a lot of people were really high in. I was pretty high on going into the season, but Deshaun Watson has torn them down, unfortunately, or fortunately if you don't like him. But that is the Cleveland Browns at 25. So their defense did not look good. It could be because the Cowboys are really good, but they got torn apart by the Cowboys easily. The Cowboys scored 33 points, and they could have scored more if they wanted to. And while the Browns did score 17 points on offense, those were all, or pretty much all, garbage time points. And it seems like the team doesn't even like Deshaun Watson. It's a mess. Their offense is a disaster, and their defense did not perform up to the standard that I had for them going into week 1. At number 24 is the New Orleans Saints. We all knew they would beat the Carolina Panthers, but I did not think they were going to put up 47 points, including some long bomb touchdowns from Derek Carr, who actually played very well. Their defense looked very good. I'll have to see them again. They're playing the Cowboys this week, and if they can put up a moderate fight and lose to the Cowboys, like if they're within less than 10 points, I'll move them up my rankings, up from 24, even if they lose this week. But beating the Panthers only gets you so much credit. It's like Georgia beating, I don't know, Toledo by 60 and then celebrating. It just doesn't matter that much to me because the competition they played was so low. And around now, we're getting to the real teams that can actually beat anybody. It is the NFL. So I guess anybody can beat anybody. But now, at 24, I would say we're getting to the real teams in the NFL. 23 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They should have beat the Miami Dolphins. They had them right where they wanted them, and then they crumbled. They did this a lot at the end of last year, and the question is, will this continue? There were fumbles by ETN that ruined the season for him, and they gave up a long bomb touchdown to none other than Tyreek Hill. Can't blame him for that. Well, actually, I guess you can. I do blame him for that. You know it's coming. Figure a way to stop it. Make them beat you some other way. But the Jaguars could easily be good. Losing to the Dolphins is not that big of a deal, and they didn't lose by that much. At 22 is the Minnesota Vikings, whose offense looked very good, their defense looked very good, but they're kind of in the Saints situation where they played against a college-level team in the New York Giants, so I only give you half credit for the win, and I'll have to see how they perform the following week against a real team. Number 21 is the Atlanta Falcons, so they were a big experiment going into the season. Will Kirk Cousins be healthy? Will their offense explode? Who knows? Some people thought this was a dark horse Super Bowl threat. It still could be, but the Steelers manhandled them. The Steelers dominated this Falcons team. Kirk Cousins did not look good. He couldn't get out of the pocket. He could barely walk. Kind of looked like he needed a walker just to get out there. He couldn't. They couldn't do anything. They only scored 10 points. The Steelers didn't even score a touchdown, and the Steelers still beat them. The Steelers also had 2 strip sacks taken away from them by false penalties, and they still won. The Falcons so far appear to be a disappointment, but we'll see how it goes when they play the Eagles this week. A real big test. I personally think they might get blown out, but we'll see. At number 20 is the Seattle Seahawks, who beat the Broncos this week by 6 points. I thought they would beat the Broncos by more than 6 points. They gave up 2 safeties. Now you could say, hey, they gave up 2 safeties and still won, or you can say, hey, they gave up 2 safeties. What's going on? So, I don't know. This is one of the teams in the NFL I just think are pretty average. Number 19, you might be a little upset about this because they look pretty bad in week 1, but that is the New York Jets. I just believe in the potential enough. Aaron Rodgers has proved for 16 years or whatever that he is a solid quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback. They have a few weapons, not enough, and potentially an elite defense. I think that's enough where, let's just say the San Francisco 49ers are in another tier, and let's see the Jets play a normal team. So this week they're playing the Titans. I think they're going to beat them down pretty bad, make Will Levis look terrible, and then maybe everyone will jump on board. But they did lose to the 49ers without McCaffrey, and their offense only really scored about 10 points in normal time. At number 18 is everybody's new favorite team, the Chicago Bears. So Caleb Williams appears to be the answer. He's the next Peyton Manning, the next Tom Brady. He did throw for under 100 yards, but who cares? They won the game. First time in like 20 years that a rookie first overall pick quarterback has won their first game. Kind of fun stat. But the reason I'm picking them is not because their offense is good, it's because their defense is really, really good. And Caleb Williams, he can only go up from here. I bet next week he throws for 100 yards. So good for him. At number 17, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to hover in these teens up and down for most of the season. They are a solid team, a very solid team. Their defense is not a joke. Their offense is not a joke either, but they're not a super scary defense and they're not a super scary offense. Baker Mayfield, yes, he's better than the Browns guy, but he's not top 10, and I don't think very many people would argue for that. So, middle of the pack team, I think that feels about right. That's what they were last year, that's what they'll be this year. Number 16, this is my pick going off potential because I just think it had to be a fluke. But I am downgrading them a lot because they were in my top 10 last week, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe in Joe Burrow enough. I believe in Jamar Chase enough. I think T. Higgins, when he gets back, it can be a very good offense, an elite offense, maybe. It was pretty disheartening in my belief in them, seeing them just get beat up by the Patriots, who I thought they would blow out. They ruined a lot of survivor leagues out there. A lot of people picked the Bengals because it felt like an easy pick, and they didn't. But we see this almost every year, it feels like, where the Bengals start bad and get better throughout the year. And number 15, the Los Angeles Chargers. So Herbert could be the best quarterback in the league if you give him some weapons, give him a good coach. If you put him, let's say, on the 49ers, everyone would say he's amazing. Since he's on a team without weapons, you just don't hear that as much anymore. But it seems like a competent team with a competent coach with a running game that was good against a solid Raiders defense, and a good defense, and their own defense is good as well. So they're going to win a lot of games just like they did this week. 22-10. You're going to see like 24-14, 24-17 all the time. You might not see them score in the 30s, but they're going to stay competitive and they're going to win a lot of close games due to having a good coach and a good quarterback. At number 14 is the Arizona Cardinals. They almost beat the Bills on the road. They should have beat the Bills on the road. They didn't use Marvin Harrison at all, which is kind of weird. And I actually don't think they played their A game. But I think we'll see throughout this year as they learn how to meld their offense between McBride, James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., and of course the quarterback. When that all melds together, I think could be a really good offense, and I think they just need some time. And their defense, while it's not the most talented, does have a lot of effort, which even in the NFL helps a lot. At number 13 is the Indianapolis Colts. They almost beat another darling of the NFL, CJ Stroud, and the Texans. They were very close to beating them, and they just didn't. I think their head coach is one of the best head coaches in the NFL. So that's the biggest reason why I put him up so high. I think he can find ways to win pretty much no matter what. At number 12 is the Green Bay Packers. So I know Jordan Love got injured, but he'll be back in 3 or 4 weeks, it seems like, from what I've seen. So if they can just survive, if they can go 1-3, if they can go 2-2 over the next 4 weeks, he gets back, they'll be all good. Their offensive weapons are very good. They only lost to the Eagles by a few points, and honestly, they fumbled it a bit, or you could say the Eagles took it from them. In my opinion, the Eagles took it from them, but they were in it for sure. You know, they had the lead for most of the game. So I could see the Packers moving up this list when Jordan Love gets back, if they survive their time with Malik Willis. If they lose 4 weeks in a row, they're going to be in a rough spot at 0-5 and would have to sneak into the playoffs, which thankfully there's 7 spots, so they might be able to do it. At number 11 is the Buffalo Bills. They were in a shootout sort of, 34-28 against the Arizona Cardinals. The quarterback, Josh Allen, appears to still be as good as ever. I thought there was a chance their defense would still be good, but it seems like they may have missed a step, giving up 28 points. Their offense, it will find a way. It's not going to be the Diggs show like it was last year, or any sole player that it relies on. Just kind of an all-around offense where fantasy owners aren't happy, but they score enough points to win. And I'm really curious to see how this Thursday night game goes, because I have the Miami Dolphins at number 10. So I have number 10 going against number 11. A real toss-up. So the Dolphins' defense looked good, forced some turnovers, and all of that. Their offense wasn't as explosive as I thought it would be. I thought they would be putting up 30 points this week for sure. However, putting up 20 points, while it is a disappointment, it did get the win. It did show some grit, and their offense has plenty of potential to improve from there. At number 9 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense looked phenomenal. Their offense, I guess they scored some points. So I'll give them credit. They scored 18 points. That's not enough where you should be happy with. You shouldn't be celebrating Justin Fields. Your defense looked really good, and your offense didn't cost you anything. Going forward, you're going to need to get into the red zone and score touchdowns if you want to stay on this top 10 or even move up through the top 10. But as of now, the win against the Falcons was impressive enough. I have them at number 9. At number 8 is the Houston Texans. I think the game against the Colts was a classic close divisional game. They showed their offense. It wasn't a one-hit wonder. They put up 29 points and were in control for a lot of the game. I am a little surprised that their defense wasn't better. I thought their defense would be greatly improved and they would beat the Colts by a decent amount. However, it appears the defense may still have some problems, especially giving up the long passes, because that's all the Colts could do, it felt like. But anyways, at number 7 is the Los Angeles Rams. They're riddled with injuries on the offensive line, and now Puka Nacua. But Cooper Kupp is still really good. Kyren Williams is still good. Matthew Stafford is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and the defense looked a lot better than I thought it would without Aaron Donald. All around, pretty impressed with this Rams team. I didn't think they'd be very good, but they showed up against the Lions. They did lose, but they showed up. At number 6 is the Baltimore Ravens, another team that lost in week 1 and somehow made it into my top 10. But the Ravens, I think if they played the same game 10 times, well, 1, I think they're winning 4 against the Chiefs, and 2, they would beat almost any other team in the NFL. Lamar Jackson played excellent. My only concern is, can Lamar keep it up? Because he got beat up in that game, and I would be pretty concerned with him making it throughout the whole season. But we'll see what happens from there. Number 5 is the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone hated them throughout the offseason, but they're still good. They're still good. I thought they were still good, and they are. All that drama, who cares? When you get on the football field, they still win, especially in the regular season. So they dismantled the Browns, and we all thought the Browns were a decent team. The Browns were even favored. So Cowboys offense and defense appears to be great. Number 4 might be a bit of a homer pick by some people's opinion, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they played in my opinion, a C-tier game, especially from Jalen Hurts. And they beat the Packers with Jordan Love playing the whole game, except for the last 2 snaps. It's not like he got hurt early. The defense showed some amazing stops in the red zone early on in the game, and then the offense scored 30 points in 2 quarters. There's enough potential where even a C-tier game from the Eagles can beat most of the teams in the NFL, and an A-tier game can beat absolutely anybody. Definite Super Bowl threat, and really, my Super Bowl teams are the top 8, starting with the Texans. And then number 3, the San Francisco 49ers. I know they played excellent without McCaffrey, but they're just going to stick at 3 for now. Purdy, he plays how Purdy does. Their defense was very impressive this week. I will give them that. Their defense, very impressive against the Jets. Or is it that the Jets' offense was bad? We'll find out later on. At number 2 is the Detroit Lions. They put on a show on Sunday night in overtime. Goff was a little shaky, especially for a home game. He normally is better at home, but a little shaky. But if they just go back to their ground and pound, best running backs in the NFL, best offensive line in the NFL, they're going to be tough to beat, and their defensive line looks really good. Then finally, number 1, no surprise here, but that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Not really surprised to anybody. They have Patrick Mahomes, they have a good defense, they have a good tight end, they have a good running back, and they have okay wide receivers, and Andy Reid, I don't know if I mentioned him or not, but best coach in the NFL. They're going to be my number 1 until they lose a game. So anyways, thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on this ranking? Please like, subscribe, and comment down below.